This is Phoenix back, and also to stream this earlier using the better reviews. Also, the Pendulum deck, so far, it's doable. What it felt like, but I didn't utilize most of the newer stuff. I felt like most of the matches shown. Time Gazer is rather good at least. But essentially, outside that step, it's really pointless. I feel like Archfiend essentially is the better card on all the decks so far. Because you can use them for a monster or removal. Could be wrong. But Form Pal is actually probably the better option, essentially, I feel like. Since it's your pretty much your rather practical first opening to add cards in hand. And I feel like Ash with against the Loaner decks is pretty much not really that good. The Pendulum effect, whatever, since we all know it does. Finally, Double Iris, the Pendulum monster. If this card is destroyed by battle, you can have one Pendulum from your deck to hand. Essentially, it's one of the better cards. From there, Blackfang, who is essentially the card to mostly if something gets sent to the grave or negated and destroyed somehow. The first effect's whatever. Otherwise, the secondary effects mostly we're going to use it for. White Wing Magician is the pretty much the most best card of the deck, I feel like. Honestly, everyone should know most of the Pendulum cards at this point. The only card I found niche, and I made one misplay at least one time earlier. It feels like most of the deck is mostly whatever. Look where my sorcerer. Stargazer of all things, since it's probably the most nichest thing I think you can have. Odd Eyes, one Astrograph. Most of the deck's mostly familiar, with only being on Supreme King monsters. One of the better ones. Revolutions were probably the nichest card. Personally, outside the search potential, that's about it. But its potion effects more than pretty much needs. Outside most of the staple, I feel like Ice String and Prison is probably the best tech in this option point. In time, Soul Spring personally should make 3 for his deck. I feel like. Time Punching Graph is whatever. Most of the decks was mostly going to Spring King somehow. But the Pendulum Summon, you essentially would want to use the Astrograph, which I personally, if you don't have the necessary cards, I would just. Most of the deck is going to run slow, I feel like, afterwards. Overall, let's just get done. The first deck I mostly faced against was Flow of all things, which I'm annoyed about, but with that Bear Statue is not as annoying. I felt, actually, with mostly the Bear Statue, but it going bad next one I'm happy about. So far, it's pretty much the most standard stuff, but also running the Albaz card, which I really don't see the need, but otherwise it's just filter. But I would have thought to run Albaz, I feel like. But but personally, they show on more generic stuff they would go into, especially with Zeus in the deck, since there's not much ways to go into stuff. So I feel like they should add level 1s at least go into this. Outside that, I can't say much. We all know what Flow. We know them, we love them, we hate them. At the very least, I got gay goddamn thing. Opening hand wise, it was. Oh wait. Okay, I must be tired. If I accidentally didn't realize it at first. Sorry about that. I was recording, but still I still keep it. I mostly need a couple more matches for that duel to happen to release it. First duel was interesting. It's DD of all things, using Maxis. Mostly a decent amount of cards of it, including the Tekken's like Dark Necrofear and Nibiru, while utilizing most of the DVD stuff. They're mostly running most of the permanent cards. Nothing unusual. The only thing they're not running, surprisingly, is Zeus. So far, I actually think it was one of the better options. It was an interesting duel, at least, enough where I felt like I'm looking for matches that are back and forth, or at least decent showings of the deck. First I did White Wing, then next I did Punch. Next I decided just to T-spin while doing that, but also just to search my deck for Double Iris, while also setting my scales. My opponent got into that first thing, and I was like, oh no. I decided to go heavy Storm Duster so I get rid of those two back rows, which apparently was the best options because of Metamorph, but mostly because of DD, which would have used my materials, so it was one of the better stuff to at least get rid of. The fact is, I realized this afterwards, but I was trying to go for a special monster, and I should have gone into something else, so this was technically my best move at the time. Because my original goal was go into Supreme King, so that would have been my better option, and I would have gone into it here if I actually read properly, but I was possibly not entirely awake when I was deciding that, or realizing the fact that I needed to be a dark Pendulum monster. So this was my best opening. Supreme King would have been a brick in my hand, but I would have at least had something to work with, since I can gain a monster attack and I could potentially win for 2 turns. It was Dark Necrofear that did it. Hold on, how did I special summon? Oh right, Spanish it. How's this thing a DD? I don't understand. Hold on. Oh wait. Oh wait, never mind, never mind. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. I'm just permanently dumb. This time I decided to do it right. I said I got Rebellion. But personally, I should have utilized this as one of his materials. I realized afterwards. Instead, I should have gone into something else. Personally, and I could have one more material to work with. I realized this afterwards. Personally, not going to it first would have been my end, but it wouldn't have mattered apparently. I should have gone into Double Iris. I decided to do this, but personally, them doing this a second time, I was like, what the heck? This match is already over. Essentially, my main misplay the whole match was pretty much not reading, which is difficult. The next match is against Darklord. Was surprisingly just a purebred, but mostly with the danger engine. But personally, you should be running more of them, I feel like. Does this deck even have a tuner? I don't remember. Oh, just deep side Diva. Oh. Outside that, no way. Huh. Odd. Personally, I'm really just tired this day. Also, I probably have some other thoughts, and I also think I was also eating that point, I think, during the stream. Because I pretty much ordered some food, it just came. So I may miss some of this because of it. My typical opening. My opponent Max easier, but I was like, I wasn't even planning to start off. My hand's not really that good for Pendulum Summoning yet. I started to make my graph. Personally, I should have waited off setting this. I should have waited. I should have just normal summoned this first. Full slow, I decided not to go into the city summon since it's better this way. My opponent would just imperm me either way next turn. I thought my opponent would imperm me, so it wouldn't matter what I do. So I felt like it would have not been good in the first place, essentially, since I will get imperm either way, and I'd rather use that monster at some point since you only get 2 copies of each. And I didn't feel like it as a result. The next match is back and forth. Essentially, I'm playing a Stardust. Essentially with Albaz, which I don't understand utilizing Aluber. Aluber of all things. Considering you're essentially just breaking. It's just a good discard cost, and that's about it. Besides that, I have no effing words. What the heck they're doing? Personally, the most annoying thing is this whole little Scarecrow, and I pretty much can't do much, as you'll realize, and I quit the once they noticed what the heck they're doing or got into. Besides the branded traps, I got no words why the heck parents decided to make this Warcry deck. Mostly with Aluber, of all things, since you can't fuse anyway. Aluber essentially is vanilla, except for a second effect. You're just -2 every time. If you extend the graveyard somehow, it'd be alright. You might as well run more tuning wire at that point, I felt like, when looking at this deck now. Overall, this still is going to be a long one. 23 turns worth. That's where I drew my line. I thought I had my out. As soon as I realized my opponent had here, I realized they're gonna have one spell strap. Decided to go Synchro, Stardust immediately. Also, I'm surprised they didn't decide to go full out combo ice. Personally, now that I look at it, this is the worst scale I could have gone for. Mostly I should have gone for scale 8 here instead. I should have gone for scale 8, but it would have just been vanilla either way. I should have gone to Chronograph actually instead, at least. Since at the very least I can also get my other one, but it would have been at least better option-wise. As soon as I realized I was like, with this combo, I was like, are you effing kidding me? What am I going to do during this duel? It's just going to be vanilla as heck. I decided to go for Zark. Mostly so I can get life points back. I should have waited. I should have held off on playing Zark at pretty much, I feel like, afterwards. Because it would have been more useful for the following turn. Since it would have been my outs. Personally, I wasted a Heavy Storm Duster because of Stardust. I said I go as much as my as I can at this point. But also solemn judgment of all things. I decided to pretty much I went for defense, but I should have gone for offense. Since I could have ended it, I could have ended the duel a little bit earlier, I feel like, afterwards, when I realized it. The most I would take is 800 points damage, but it would have been enough. I said I go for level 8. This is where I should have actually, if I had kept Heavy Storm, I wasted a turn by not realizing it. But I should hold off on utilizing it because I could have run Stardust and every damn trap in the back row. At least. Essentially, this is a stalemate at this point. I forgot my Scarbo, so very much I should have held off on this. Also because pretty much I would have had Astrograph for a thing option at least. So I could give it Stardust. Basically, this whole duel, essentially, it was like 2 back-to-back turns, I would have had something to work with. A step for Stardust wish would have happened, and it would not have worked. But if they did, I would have Ice Dragon Prison at least to work with. Well, secondly, I got my second Heavy Storm Duster, which is exactly what I needed. Also, this is a point where I wish I actually utilized it earlier. Actually, I gotta get played. Scarecrow happened. Essentially, I did that mostly so I get Ice Dragon Prison. Since I'm just tired of this duel at this point. Instead, I went for Junk Spear. I do not know why the heck dang I went to here. A misplay happened. Actually, wait. Essentially, I went for my graph. I really wish I could actually get rid of this graph. Personally, that was the one thing I was thinking about. I wish I got rid of the scale much earlier, as much as possible. You realized. Oh wait, it doesn't matter. This whole thing is almost about to be over anyway. Last one. Personally, that duel I essentially made well in this place, and this is the one deck I was like happy as heck to be done with. Burn is essentially just burns. Stalling. I don't remember this is the one duel I had. Oh wait. I forgot that was the last one. Consider that sneak preview for tomorrow of what I was dealing with, but I don't have that many matches to go off of, and I pretty much rather make a straight up deck, and I need to figure out what I'm building. My ratio for my trap deck, at least. With that being a thing. Otherwise, I'm probably going to utilize some decks at least tomorrow, but I'm probably going to take a day off either way, since I'm running on some capture card stuff. So, good night, Roy VR. They are not watching this video. Peace. Wait, what's that control?